First impressions. We've already brought these up, so it's not something that I'm bringing up for the first time, but it is something that I'd like to now emphasize. As part of your first impressions, what we want to keep in mind is that you earlier did an activity in order to create your resume where you were emphasizing or listing out those things that you feel are both attributes about you as well as your skills and accomplishments that you then captured on your resume. And however that got organized is perfectly fine, but what I want you to do now is create a separate sheet. And this is actually an activity where you're going to now write down that if you had a chance to explain who you are and what it is you do, this is what you'd want to talk about. And this is preparing you for the interview. It's your first impression, if you will, meeting with them as to what they're going to remember most about you. So let me give you some tips and suggestions on what you can do to be memorable and help them see you different than all the other candidates. This will include things such as speaking clearly with confidence and respect for the people that you're talking to. It's actually here that you're going to list a number of power statements, things that you're going to say with confidence. Now, this is where you're going to identify, speak of the skills or the accomplishments that you've had in past employment, perhaps. This is where you're going to highlight what it is you've done that is significant for them so that they can see how you could actually help them in their organization. Now, you're going to want to be very specific as to the skills. It's going to be within accounting. It can be not just accounts payable, accounts receivable, bank reconciliation, tasks. It could be, I was able to actually decrease the time in accounts receivables so that we were collecting not in 90 plus days, but we were actually closing accounts before the 90th day. We changed our policies and procedures to actually lessen and decrease the time that things were outstanding. I was able to actually close and not send to collections the traditional 10% of the receivables, but we were able to lessen that and now send to collections 2% of the receivables. Payables, I was able to decrease through negotiations various contracts so that our payables, our contracts were less and we were paying for lesser services, and that actually allowed us to improve cash flow. And cash flow, we were able to lessen the line of credit we were using so that we could run the business more efficiently. Notice that these skills are also then tied to specific activities, and they're clearly demonstrated through specific accomplishments. This is what you're trying to articulate. Now, I'm not trying to be so specific because you have your experience, you have your background, but I want you to think now as part of this activity, what is that specific skill or task that you did and accomplished something that would be of worth to that future employer? How would they see what you've done applying to them? Now, as you're thinking about these things, anything that can be done in numerics, such as dollar amounts, numbers, percentages, are hugely important. So take a moment and as part of this activity, document the skill and the associated accomplishment and how it can be articulated in a numeric form. Now, for this, let me give you some other examples of things that you can do that show how you can complement an organization. You can say you're dedicated to customer service, and you can share a story of how you actually impacted and responded to needs in a 24-hour period or less, and by doing so, you were able to increase sales by X percent and decrease returns by another percent. These are tasks that you did where you accomplished a specific thing that was quantifiable. That's what we're looking for. You can also say, I have excellent planning skills. I was able to prepare a budget and forecast for the company. I did it in the last 4 months of the year. Therefore, I was able to present it at the retreat and give the company an idea of what they were needing in the forecast. These are things that I want you to think about and articulate an associated skill with a task, with an accomplishment that you can numerically identify. In this process, it's perhaps already captured in your resume, but I need you to mentally think of it so that when asked, you can verbally express it intelligently. Skill, task, accomplishment with a quantifiable number. If you can come up with specifically four of these that you can remember and recite in an interview, you will do something that most of the interviewees cannot do, and that's show how your work results in specific things that your future employer can benefit from. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. So remember this, with your first impression, what we're trying to do is help the employer see the impact of your being hired and work for them and how they will benefit from your employment with that company. With that, remember, business success is universal. Take care.